everyone, for staying with us. You heard what President Tinubu said today after the Salah prayers in Lagos. He said Nigerians will have to make sacrifices, and he's asking that we should show faith in this country. Tonight, we'll be hearing from a presidential candidate of the YPP, Mr. Malik Ado Ibrahim, who is a tech entrepreneur, a businessman, and ran in the presidential race in 2023. Thank you so much. And it's good to see you again, Mr. Ibrahim.
Thank you very much.
What do you make of that statement, the president asking Nigerians to make sacrifices?
Well, first, happy Eid to everybody and all Muslim faithful.
I'm sorry for bringing you out on a day like this.
It's okay.
I know it's difficult.
Well, the country
Feasting
needs...
with family and all that.
Absolutely.
And I had to bring you out in the midst of that.
It's okay.
Thank you so much indeed.
Thank you. I must say on a personal note, I'm quite impressed with what's going on in the country. There's a sense of hope. And with hope, there's prayers. And I think in any nation that's embarking on a new direction, yes, we should have faith. We should give an opportunity to the government. He's been sworn in. He's my president. He's everybody's president. So I think the most important thing right now is we give hope a chance, and we give him a chance to be able to do the right things for this nation. Yes, a lot of prayers. And, I think on the government's part, it also has to put the right people in the right place so that that hope is extended into actual action. And I believe that already we're seeing good signs of that. And I pray that he has good health and a healthy mind and a good cadre of people around him to execute what will be a very difficult road for Nigeria over the next 4 years.
So you're getting a feeling that your response is as though Bola Tinubu is someone you are happy to lose to, with what has happened in the last few days?
Well, loss is not something I take lightly, but I just look at it as, look, this is God's will. And I'm not here to cause a problem for 200 million Nigerians. And I believe that those that are in court will do what they need to do to clear this way. And we have to get back into the business of having a country that works rather than in this malaise of just hopelessness. And, I'm just happy that things are going the right way.
You have a feeling that, maybe for a moment, we might be getting some things right. And what gives you that feeling? The utterances of a man that has written down what he's going to do and does what he does, for me, it shows the strength of character that we've missed, and we've lacked for the last number of years. And I think that the hope that we get is things like the unitary policy on our currency. We're seeing people being brought to book. We're seeing action being taken in areas which the nation really needs to consider. And these are brave things you do in your first 100 days of office. You don't take, this is a honeymoon period, but the brave and the good leader takes those very hard steps immediately. You show your direction. You think he's shown audacity?
He's had gumption, audacity to do the right thing and to do the things that everybody knows will change this nation. It's a bitter pill. We all have to accept that things are going to be difficult. Some things have been done, I think, a little bit backward, but I think things like the currency, I think the fuel subsidy, that was the immediate shock that got everybody going. Although uttered, as he said, sort of off script, things, I don't think this idea of palliatives, we keep talking about them. We need good governance. We need things put in place. We need, and we're talking about CNG when we should be talking about electric vehicles. We're going back in time. We're not doing the right things. We're not bringing the right tools together. But the initial action has happened. And I really hope that in the hope of a better Nigeria, some of us are brought together so that we can give our own take on things, because you cannot know everything, and sometimes you just need external help to move those things forward.
When by tomorrow it will be exactly 1 month since President Tinubu got into office, and he's made some policies and he's steered the country in a direction where a lot of people may be feeling some hardship right now from the effect of his policies and his actions. And when he's saying we must make sacrifices, some of his critics have come out to say, we're already spilling blood. What more do you want from us?
You're choking us. We no longer can breathe at this moment. So asking for sacrifice in that sense, for those who are feeling, who are below the pyramid, in the bottom of the pyramid, I mean, how does that sit down with them, those who are already being pained by the actions of the government's decisions?
Well, in 30 days, very little can be done that can show that turnaround. This is a massive vessel on the ocean. It takes time for it to turn around. Those looking for immediate action are looking for witchcraft or some crazy notion that you can switch it over. A magician. Asiwaju is, you know, his team and his actions, we need to give it time. I remember when the last administration came in, everybody believed that you know, things would change, people would stop at traffic lights, you know, all this corruption would go. But brave things were not done. We could have had this subsidy removed 8 years ago. It wasn't done. The time has come to make those changes. We're on life support. The country's on life support, and we need a surge.
Delicate actions.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And if you don't take those steps, we're dead. The patient is dead.
Let me take you to an area that is familiar, that you are familiar with. You have spoken to me on this program on how we can digitize our security and our fight against some of the security challenges we are facing.
Yes.
If you had to speak to the president tonight, I mean, some of the ideas that you have here shared, you were hoping that you will become president, but now the lot is falling on another person.
Yes.
Insecurity is a major problem, and we cannot progress economy-wise if we do not get security right.
Absolutely.
To remotely, digitally secure this country, which way do you think is best for us to go?
Well, the tools have been there, we haven't used them, and unfortunately things like our satellite are expiring.
Really? NACOMSAT?
Yes. NACOMSAT is on its last legs. It's got a couple more years to go, but it hasn't been used properly. Since the brave move of Obasanjo till now, nothing has happened. It's not doing what it's supposed to do.
And the Chinese have collected their money.
Yes, well, first they gave us the wrong one, and now they replaced it. We've gone through the turmoils of this.
I thought the first one was lost in space.
They lost it, and we had a replacement, and it really hasn't done everything it's supposed to do. We don't need to rely on that. We need to realize that the country needs eyes in the sky. We need to bring some of the new tools, the new age tools. First, look at the way in which we can observe movement. We look at places like the forests of this country that are the havens for inequity and all kinds of banditry. We should be able to bring a force of note into Nigeria's security element that begins to look at how do we number these people, how do we figure out where they are, how do we present a very robust activity towards clearing them out. And I think more importantly, all these ideas that the system have been used ideas. We need fresh blood, we need fresh thinking. I think the national security apparatus needs to have a rejig. It's nice to see that the service chiefs have come to a level where they can, we got younger men of the same cadre and a good thinking group of men that will come in. And I just hope that we get to people like myself who have those tools, understand how those tools work. And there are quite a few Nigerians that do this, that can come together and be a helping hand in trying to get these things, these ideas of digitalizing and giving sort of the kind of digital presence, the technology presence that a country like Nigeria should have.
I mean, so you're saying that NACOMSAT is expiring?
Expiring, yes.
Yeah. Next year, or when is it?
I think it's got probably 2, maybe it can be extended to 3 years, but it's whatever you're going to do now is not going to be able to work in 3 years' time. We need an alternative.
The president was led by Babangana Muguno, the former NSA, to a terrorism center, anti-terrorism monitoring center here in Abuja, which looks like a state-of-the-art in terms of the edifice. We do not know what kind of gadgets. In terms of the pictures that we saw coming out of there, it looks like the state of the art. You imagine maybe you are in the headquarters of the CIA, but I mean, it is not the bricks and the walls that matter. It's perhaps the technology or the gadgets that have been used and intelligence that have been employed in that sense. If you see that kind of edifice, I'm very sure that they may not be want to expose what is on the inside of it. But then, for the NSA, for example, look at what obtains in other countries of the world where they've battled similar security challenges that we're facing, in what direction do you think it should be looking?
Well, I mean, the new National Security Advisor has a task in his hand, and I don't think following the path that has been a disaster for the last 8 years is the right path to take. We have some very able men and women in the National Security Agency that can deliver, but the tools, it's not what you see that is most important, is what the actions is, the results. And we have not seen results. They haven't been tangible so the public can have that faith. And we need to give absolute faith to the public that, yes, you can go about your business. Investors can come into this country.
Are you saying that we cannot remotely see how our enemies are operating with the satellite that we
don't have an optical satellite. It doesn't have eyes in the sky. It wasn't built like that. We are utilizing other people's satellites for that. We have a wasted asset. In my mind, it's dead. Forget it. We need to look at ways in which we can secure this country. We can take feeds from other satellites around the world. It's what you analyze. What you see is not always what you get. You've got analysts that must look at the information that is gleaned from these satellites and then assess what the threat is. And when you're in this security apparatus, you also need the actors, the end users, the Nigerian men and women in boots, those brave souls, to have that core, that unity that things can work. And the coordination that the NSA's office needs to have is the key aspect of what's going to happen next. If they do not coordinate, if we do not have the right men that understand how to bring these brave men and women together so that they are actionable and they can create results, no matter how many pictures you have, no matter how beautiful the NSA's office is, no matter how many cannons you have hanging outside your wall, it's not going to do any good.
One of my guests here, I mean, there was a global terrorism conference, and some of the reports emerging is that some of these terrorists are now devising new ways. They're using remote technologies to now deploy bombs and attack on Nigerian soil, and in fact they are using satellite telephones that may be a bit difficult to track. So, I mean, you look at those dynamics, and if you were in the shoes of the president and the NSA, for example, what would you do right now?
I think key to the point is try to understand what assets do we have on the ground, not boots. What technology do we have on the ground? If this is really true, and of course they are using satellite technology to communicate, because most of the cell sites in the Northeast and in other areas are down. There are ways of jamming these. There are ways of tracking them. There's ways of triangulating information. We don't have a digital feed. We don't have a collation center that has all the information on every citizen. Triangulating your enemy is a very important part of tracking and tracing. Satellite will do one part of it. We also have drones, and those have been very successful, by the way. The military has done an incredible job in utilizing, especially the Turkish drones that have come into Nigeria. But we now need to find a way to get Army, Navy, Air Force, Civil Defense, Police, DSS, NSA's office, coordinating that and giving the president a brief on a daily basis. This is what we're doing. Get him to buy in on the action and bring private sector in, because what happens outside? Companies like Google and Apple are also giving information to the National Security Agency in the United States. MI6 depends on companies like Vodacom because the cell towers are there. You can't just do this on your own. It is a coordinated effort with patriots looking for a better country, looking to do the right thing to make sure Mr. President is successful.
It is not only in the security sector that we have a problem or challenges of coordination. Even economy-wise, there are those vast areas that tax nets that are not captured properly, and we're losing so much in terms of revenue. Those who believe that a lot needs to be done in coordinating and looking at areas where, revenue, we have a challenge in revenue generation in this country. And oil, a mainstay of our economy. There are those who believe that we need also to till the ground in a more sophisticated manner. There are those who will say, look, some of the biggest economies in the world are backed, the spine are in the digital economy. The Apples of this world, the Samsung of this world, Elon Musk and all what have you. Digital economy. How much of that can we really dig into?
The cornerstone of a digital economy is power. You can have the best, most fancy equipment, even the satellite that's beautiful and looks good, and an office with the NSA's office, all these cameras and everything in it. If the power doesn't work, if you don't have constant power, industry doesn't work, security doesn't work, healthcare doesn't work. The digitalized economy needs electricity to move. And in order for us to move this country forward, the number one, and I'm not the president, but if I was sitting in front of my president, I would say, if you're not focusing on power, you won't get this in 4 years' time. Nigerians are sick and tired of having oil, great sunshine, wind, and not the enabling environment to work. You have to give that enabling environment. Make it a task. Make it the number one way to build Nigeria.
You have investments in alternative energy. How easy? How can we overcome it?
The mindset, the brains, the young people to do this are here. I'm working with some of the brightest minds that I can find to make these things happen. We're putting power stations up in record time. But, you know, there's a conflict of interest from my side of it, because this is something I do, there's something I've done well, there's something I've done internationally. And there are very few companies globally that have the kind of understanding of renewable energy like we do. And we're seeing this in other nations asking us to come and help. But when we bring it to our country, to our people, to show success.
How much of achievement have you gotten in that sector?
Well, put it this way, we're the largest renewable energy company in Africa and in the Southern Hemisphere at the moment. We build more power stations using solar and storage. We're the largest storage producer in the world. And in fact, about 2 weeks ago, we just signed the largest production deal for renewable energy storage. And the climate economy is sitting in Nigeria. This is the number one thing. Forget agriculture, because even if you take the stuff out of the ground, you have to beneficiate it. You need power. You need power to be able to get those good products and get them ready for the marketplace, whether it's Nigeria or internationally. If you're not looking at other elements, the climate economy giving you lithium, cobalt, titanium, copper, these are things Nigeria is rich at. We should be having a focus group on a global scale. Where do we get this climate economy to work? Why aren't we building jobs for Nigerians, and why aren't we exporting this power?
So if President Tinubu needs to get anything to jumpstart this economy, power is at the core of it.
The core element to every Nigerian success today, whether at home, at school, in your health, in your business, is power.
I have 20 seconds to go.
Yes, sir.
What do you think the rest of the world looks forward to, looks to Nigeria for, in terms of what we perhaps are not really exploring, that the rest of the world really needs, and we have it in abundance? What would that be?
Our incredible mindset. We have young people, we have incredible minds. We need somebody that's going to be incredible to lead those minds to success. The world is looking for us. We're everywhere and we're great everywhere, but at home we're just lackluster, and we need to get greatness.
Do you have the feeling that the time for Nigeria is now?
I have the feeling it's now. I have the feeling that, given the chance, and I'm not someone to go after somebody in a negative way. I just believe that maybe in all the hullabaloo of everything that has gone on, Mr. President might have an opportunity to gather Nigerians to do the right thing, and I pray that's the case.
I remember in the South African hosting the World Cup, one of the themes is the time of Africa. Maybe this is just a time for Nigeria.
If Nigeria leads, Africa will follow. There's no doubt about it in my mind.
I believe it in my mind. And, well, if the president is watching tonight, it's a challenge to him.
Absolutely.
That he
to
has
all of us in Nigeria.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Malik Ado Ibrahim, Ex-YPP presidential candidate in the 2023 presidential election. Thank you so much indeed.
Thank you, sir.
And thank you so much for leaving all the feasting and all what have you with family to speak to me on the program tonight. Thank you so much, everyone.